To practice elevation means, in the morning before the worldly day begins, you must first establish the state of elevation, purity, power, and joy of being. You must not allow the earthly thoughts, projects, worries, and hardships to fall upon you as soon as you get up. You must first create the awareness of your higher self and your mission. Otherwise, you will not be able during the day to think, feel, speak, and act from the standpoint of the mountain peak. Painful experience teaches, he who starts the day down in the valley will during its course hardly have the possibility to ascend. You have to start the day on the mountain top in the spiritual world. From this height, you deliberately descend down to the earthly life. There you will be supported by the certainty that you will soon return to the summit, at the latest in the evening. Therefore, the popular wisdom says, when you begin the day with a smile, you have already mastered it. At noon, for a brief moment, you will take a time out from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Visit the mountain top, practice elevation, and restore the rule of the spirit. At the latest in the evening, you have to reserve a fixed time for our exercise and restore the state of elevation. You will look back at the day from above. You will give yourself an account on how you have spent it, in order to learn how you can do better tomorrow. You should consciously conclude the day, leave the earth and all earthly affairs, and, as at death, return to your marvelous homeland, where there is no oppression. These 3 pillars of a spiritual day should gradually become a habit through a salutary discipline, such as, for example, the 5 prayer times of Islam. To establish the rule of the spirit also means to uncompromisingly make sure, against all demands of the world, that your spiritual being is granted the space it needs to live. The first practical step, therefore, is to establish, at least during these 3 times of the day, an elevated state of mind. If you succeed, you will not fall too deeply in the short intervals in between. An even greater challenge is to constantly maintain a state of higher vibration, not only on the mountaintop, but also down in the valley during normal everyday life. That means always stay in elevation, never crash, not allow to be dragged down by adverse circumstances or human attacks, or at least rise again immediately once you have crashed. The crucial exercise, therefore, is create elevation in any situation. Elevation is a spiritual attitude which we must preserve under all circumstances, not only in the morning and in the evening on our mountain. Each man experiences the manifestation of enthusiasm, but these sparks of lofty elation occur as isolated flashes and do not transform the whole life. But for all that, such states of the spirit are possible even amid trying conditions. Let us imagine such an exalted state as continuous. It will then bestow still higher enthusiasm. Of course, all existence shall likewise be elevated. You have to ask yourself at every moment, am I in this state of elevation, or am I out? Am I up, or am I down? What is required is constant vigilance. It should not be thought that in his consciousness an arhat could lose sight of the guiding will, even for one instant. He proves to be a simple mortal if he does not always solemnly bear the chalice of achievement. The power of his heart becomes dormant as soon as he ceases to feel the hierarchic thread in his hand. In this realization of constant vigilance lies the uniqueness of an arhat. When you feel pure, strong and joyful, you are up. When you feel unclean, weak or sad, you are down. You are like a baby who is learning to walk. When you have stumbled, you have to get up in spirit immediately before you continue to act on the material plane. Especially before meals, you should carry out a short elevation. Thereby you transmit your higher vibrations to the material food and purify and elevate it. In addition, this helps you to eliminate the desire of the palate and to make sure that you eat only that and only so much as your body really needs. One of the most important paragraphs of Agni Yoga on our topic runs, there were those among the disciples and followers whose lives were filled with misery and daily hardship. The teacher, Jesus, would first help them by uplifting their spirits, and only when balance was established would he discuss their problems. This tells us, in difficulties, facing important decisions, before you look for the solution of a problem, always create the state of elevation first. You should not think, feel, speak, or act in a downcast mood. That would only produce a negative impact on you and your environment. As long as you are depressed, you will hardly find the best solution. Furthermore, it may be that in some situations there is no way out. Even this must not drag you down from your elevated state of mind. Therefore, your motto should be, first, elevation, then, problem solution. You should regard the exercise elevation as successfully completed only once you have reached the state of mind which we have described as purity, power, and joy of being. And you should return to this exercise whenever you have lost this state. At the end of this broadcasting, let me point out, the exercise elevation is not a selfish practice, which only aims at your personal well-being. It is a service to mankind as well. The state of your mind has a great significance for the work you are doing on the material level. The bread you bake, the children you educate, the letters you write, the houses you build, the furniture you fabricate, the pictures you paint, the conversations you lead. Everything you do succeeds in a state of elevation better than when you are acting in a depressed mood or with negative thoughts or feelings. Depending on your inner condition, you radiate good or bad emanations at any moment. They exert a powerful effect on the people and even on the objects around you. One should sow the good with every glance, every touch, and the heart will grow in this exercise of goodness. In a state of elevation, you illuminate your whole environment by radiating warmth, light, love, joy, and strength. We must attain the stage where we radiate light from our innermost being, for it is then that we are true co-workers with the higher worlds. Through the radiant example of your own elevation, you show other people the beauty and dignity of this state of mind, and awaken in them the desire to elevate themselves as well. It is impossible for anyone to either raise or lower his own individual vibration without raising or lowering everything connected with him. You prove your fellow human beings that suffering and desires can be overcome by this practice. He who has elevated himself is called upon, if possible, to help his fellow human beings to elevate themselves as well. So everyone who prepares his heart and uplifts the hearts of those around him is already doing the will of the one who sent him. This is an endless task for every new day. Everywhere the people and the circumstances around you call desperately for elevation. In the family, in the circle of your friends and acquaintances, as well as in public. Here are two of the most important paragraphs of Agni Yoga. How then does an hierarch create on earth? By uplifting all the surroundings. He knows how hard it is, when surrounded by tigers, to rise up and carry others on into the higher spheres. But this is the labor that must be performed by those who are launching the new world. You cannot esteem the value of the work on your elevation highly enough. It has worldwide significance. Can one ascend and descend in isolation? Truly, no being can act without affecting his surroundings. Man must realize his responsibility toward the universe. A person with each elevation of the spirit is of substantial aid to others. But a person falling in spirit may thereby even kill someone. One can cite numerous examples, such as how one who became insane in Asia was the cause of the death of another in Europe, or how one who rose in spirit in America healed another in Egypt. May your mantra be I elevate myself. I am living in an elevated state of purity, power, and joy of being. I elevate others.